We're going to continue on. Week 3 is actually one of my favorite topics. We're going to talk about searching the web and how searching works. A lot of my examples I'm going to use is going to be specifically on Google. Some of the examples that I'm going to use will only work in Google, though kind of how searching works can be used in any search engine, whether you're using Bing, Yahoo, or any of those other search engines that exist. The first thing I'm going to do is show you a little video by a guy that works at Google. His name is Matt Cutts, and he's going to walk you through how a searching works on the web. So stay tuned, and you can take a look at that video, and then I'll catch up with you in just a moment.
Hi, my name is Matt Cutts. I'm an engineer in the quality group at Google, and I'd like to talk today about what happens when you do a web search. The first thing to understand is that when you do a Google search, you aren't actually searching the web. You're searching Google's index of the web, or at least as much of it as we can find. We do this with software programs called spiders. Spiders start by fetching a few web pages. Then they follow the links on those pages and fetch the pages they point to, and follow all the links on those pages and fetch the pages they link to, and so on, until we've indexed a pretty big chunk of the web. Many billions of pages stored across thousands of machines. Now, suppose I want to know how fast a cheetah can run. I type in my search, say cheetah running speed, and hit return. Our software searches our index to find every page that includes those search terms. In this case, there are hundreds of thousands of possible results. How does Google decide which few documents I really want? By asking questions, more than 200 of them, like, how many times does this page contain your keywords? Do the words appear in the title? In the URL? Directly adjacent? Does the page include synonyms for those words? Is this page from a quality website, or is it low quality, even spammy? What is this page's page rank? That's a formula invented by our founders Larry Page and Sergey Brin that rates a web page's importance by looking at how many outside links point to it and how important those links are. Finally, we combine all those factors together to produce each page's overall score and send you back your search results about half a second after you submit your search. At Google, we take our commitment to delivering useful and impartial search results very seriously. We don't ever accept payment to add a site to our index, update it more often, or improve its ranking. Let's take a look at my search results. Each entry includes a title, a URL, and a snippet of text to help me decide whether this page is what I'm looking for. I also see links to similar pages, Google's most recent stored version of that page, and related searches that I might want to try next. And sometimes, along the right and at the top, I'll see ads. We take our advertising business very seriously as well, both our commitment to deliver the best possible audience for advertisers and to strive to only show ads that you really want to see. We're very careful to distinguish your ads from regular search results. And we won't show you any ads at all if we can't find any that we think will help you find the information you're looking for. Which in this case, the cheetah's top running speed is more than 60 miles an hour. Thanks for watching. I hope this made Google a little bit more understandable.
All right, so I hope that video was good. I hope you enjoyed how kind of searching works and how a lot of that kind of makes sense when you're doing some searching. So with searching, a couple things I want to talk about. There's a couple of tips and tricks that I want to share with searching. The first one is with narrowing down your results. So one of the things that our students do, and I taught middle school, so this I saw pretty much all the time when my students would do a search. If we were doing a search on the lost city of Atlantis, my students would just come up here and type in Atlantis. And when they would do that, it would pull up their search. Now, on my search results here, I'm going to throw out this first section because it is an ad, and you can actually see that it's an ad there. This is one of those things that you probably want to teach your students about. The reason for that is they will normally click on that. So just show them the ads there, make sure they skip through that. Now, as I scroll down here, the first thing you're going to see is I have Atlantis right here. The majority of my students, when they would search, would go to Atlantis.com. They would not go to an actual search engine. So teaching them to go to a search engine is an important task also. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Atlantis, and as Atlantis pulls up, it looks like the lost city of Atlantis has been found. If you look here, you have Bahamas and Dubai, and even looks like there's another one being found in China. So the idea here is that my students are going to click on that first link, and obviously as I'm looking here, it's not pulling up the information that I'm looking for. So I'm going to back up. Now we're looking for the lost city of Atlantis, so we're going to just scroll through our results here. For kind of the majority of people using the web to search, they are going to search only on the first page. So if it does not show up in that first page, they're not probably going to find it, so they need to refine their search. That's with our students also. So we're looking for the lost city of Atlantis, and the first thing we find here is a Bahamas resort. As I come down here, there's Wikipedia, which actually has to do with the lost city of Atlantis, which is a great resource. I'm a big fan of Wikipedia just because of all the resources that it lists on the site, but we're going to throw that one out for just the moment just so we can take a look down here. The next thing that we see is Lost Continent of Atlantis, so there's good. So we have one so far. As we go down, there's a resort, spa, Reno. That's not what we're looking for. There's a movie. There's another resort, probably the exact same resort that we're looking at. Atlantis Event, that's not what we're looking for. Atlantis BBC, so that's going to be more of a kind of a television show. Atlantis World's Fair. So once again, as we're kind of moving down here, we're not really seeing the results that we're looking for. So the first tip that I'm going to share is called narrowing down your results. Now what I'm going to show you is called search operators. Search operators can be applied to your search. That's going to remove searching pieces from your results so they're not showing up. So obviously on here we're searching for Atlantis, and a lot of things that keep showing up here have to do with resorts. So if I hit a minus and then put a word like resorts, so minus and then the word, no space in there, and then when I hit enter, it's going to do a search, and if you notice right away, all the resorts are removed from my search engine. So you can see right away Atlantis.com is gone, and as I scroll down here, a lot of them have been removed. So obviously you can see that my search result is coming a lot cleaner with what I'm trying to find. So I'm going to try one more. I'm going to do television or movies on here. So you can have multiple search operators in your search query. So Atlantis minus resorts minus movie, and then it's going to do remove results and resorts, and it's going to remove movies on here. I'm going to hit enter, and then once again, as it does its search, it definitely clears up. So I can remove some other things on here. So there's my search is getting a little better. Now this is really important search tip, and if you're working with younger elementary students, it's okay to demonstrate this in the class. Your students probably aren't going to be searching by themselves in your classroom, but if you did a search, this would be a good thing to talk through with your students. Searching is definitely a critical thinking skill because they need to discuss what they already know about a particular topic. And sorry, apparently my messages are showing up. There we go. So what's really important about that is they need to talk about what they already know so they can go ahead and work on their search query. So if you think about that, we talk about Atlantis, and then if I had a discussion in class, what do you already know about it? Some students might say there's a movie out there by Disney. Some other students might say I watch a TV show about that. Some other students might share that they know there was a space shuttle called Atlantis, or somebody's been on vacation to Atlantis in the Bahamas. But these are all critical thinking skills, and when you have those discussions in your classroom, it will help refine those searches so your students can better use their skills to find a particular topic. So the first one's narrowing down, which is minus, and removes those words from your search terms. The second one is exact phrase. Now I use this a lot, not necessarily to find information on the web, though I do now, but I used it a couple times to find out if my students were doing some plagiarism or having some help from the internet on a particular assignment. So anytime you search a phrase, so if there are some lyrics that I was looking for, story of a girl and I'm trying to find these music lyrics. If I do a search and I type in story of a girl, it is not going to do a search on just that phrase. What it's going to do is it's going to look for any of those photos from the web. So if there are any words in between these words, story of a girl, and maybe there's here's a story of a Midwestern girl, even though the word Midwestern's in there, if this phrase was typed in there, it's going to search for those lyrics. So when you put quotes around your search term, when you put quotes around your search term, it will only search that phrase. It will not search any other phrase. So if there are any words in here, so for example, Midwestern girl, it will not search that phrase. So putting quotes around there only searches that phrase. Now, you have to have at least 2 words. If you only have 1 word, it's not going to search. So you want to definitely make sure there's quotes around those words. So doing that, story of a girl, I put quotes around it, and I can find, obviously, the search results. This has been a pretty standard search, but 9 days is the group that sang this song. So quotes around phrase is a really cool search term. So I'm going to put a couple of these together really quick. I'm going to do quotes and water cycle, and then when I do a search, it's going to search that site for me and try to find water cycle, not water was cycling, or there was water when I was cycling, but it's going to do specifically on water cycle, and it does help to spell the word correctly, but there you go. Now, one other search operator that's really kind of cool is called is this cite colon. Now, the purpose of cite colon is it's only going to search a specific website or specific domain. Now, we talked about this last week, and I know many of you actually brought it up in our discussion forum, which is the ending part. So I have google.com. .com, once again, is a company. If I had .net, it's going to be a network. .net, it's going to be a network. If I did .org, it's going to be an organization, which actually, if I did click on google.org, it's going to pull up the Google organization that they have. There's also google.gov. Sorry, not Google, but gov would be government. .edu is going to be a school. So, for example, mobap.edu is going to be a higher institution. .k12 is going to be probably a K-12 school. So the really cool thing here is if I'm wanting to do a search, and once again I'm going to use my quotes around here, so water cycle, and then I want to search only schools in the state of Missouri. I'm going to do cite colon, and I'm going to do k12.mo.us. Now, the reason I know that is because the ending of the site, for example, in Wentzville, it's wentzville.k12.mo.us. So that's going to be the last part, or parkway.k12.mo.us. So when I do a search here, it is only going to search water cycle, nothing in between, and it's only going to search Missouri K-12 schools. Now, as I go down here, look at this, farmington.k12, cape.k12, Cape, let's see, here's another, Center, let's see, Waynesville, Kearney, Parkway. So as I'm searching here, it's actually searching specifically schools. Now I love this because when I'm looking for tools as a teacher, or I want to send my students out for a search, if I put that cite colon, it's going to search only those schools. Once again, I can use that minus operator if I want to remove words for things kept showing up that I didn't want to see. This is really helpful once again because if I did want to search only EDU sites, I can just come over here and do EDU. Or if I only wanted to search government sites, I can do water cycle gov. And then it pulls up a search only on government there, which is really a cool thing. Now, here's another really cool tip that Google has. Just it's kind of gets hidden. It also kind of moves a lot with Google whenever they do an update on their site, and that is this little drop down menu that appears. So right here, Thurston's water cycle. Now if I go to this web page, apparently I don't have Flash updated at the moment, but I'll say this is a really cool website. Now, whenever I find a really cool website, I want to keep looking for those websites. So if I find down here the green, it puts the website there. There's a little drop down arrow. And down here, there's a button that says similar. If I click on similar, it's going to search similar websites to that. So it's going to kind of narrow down to my search results. So that was definitely related to kids. And then as I'm doing that, if you notice, all of my sites that keep pulling up have to do with kids and water cycle. So just a really kind of cool little tip there. So once again, the water cycle kid zone, maybe I like that one. I can come over there and search similar, and then it's going to search similar sites again for me. All right, last little tip. This is more kind of a free one for you as a teacher, becoming a teacher. And this is file type : and so say I'm searching for water cycle, and then I'm going to do site : k12.mo.us, and then I'm going to do file type, all one word, : and I'm going to do like PDF. So that's going to be an Adobe PDF file. So what I just said in my search is find me anything about a water cycle from K-12 schools in Missouri, and I only want to see PDF. So when I hit enter here, if you'll notice, every single site that pulled up my search result is only a PDF. This is amazing because if you're looking for resources for your class, notes, how-to guides, worksheets, those types of things, this would be a fantastic tool there for file type. Now I'm going to back up just a bit. I'm going to do PPT for PowerPoint. I'm going to hit enter, and only found me PowerPoints. Look at that right here, PowerPoints on water cycle from K-12 schools. If I want to do DOC, that's going to be Word docs, and that's going to search that way for me also. So as you take a look at this, really kind of a cool thing, and really allows you to be fine-tuned with how you're trying to search. Now, we have a couple of these search terms. Now, the cool thing is this is going to get us the information that we're looking for. Unfortunately, there's a lot of stuff on the web that doesn't really it could be fake, it could be real, but we gotta, as we pull up the sites, we really have to be able to decipher that information. I always love that, I believe it's State Farm, I believe is the commercial. There's a guy and a girl talking, and she says she's going on a date, and she said it's a guy, and she's dating a French model, and the guy shows up, and it's this older gentleman, and kind of the joke was, oh, you believe everything on the internet. So everything on the internet is true, right? And unfortunately with the web, there's a lot of information out there that may or may not be true, or at least the person posting it thought it was true, but that really is kind of a thing that has to be taught in the classroom also. So there's a little acronym that I'm going to teach you called REAL, R-E-A-L, not that I need to spell that for you, but basically this acronym is going to help you discover kind of your searching. So I'm going to first give a little disclaimer. The site I'm going to use does have a little kind of pushes the limits on what they're doing, but it definitely kind of drives home the point of the information out there. So I'm going to do a search for Martin Luther King Jr. So here's my search, and Wikipedia, perfect. There's one for biography, history, martinlutherking.org. So this actually looks like a fantastic site to pull up. There's one from National Park Services, Nobel Prize, the kingcenter.org. So there's a lot of sites on there. Now, when we talked about our search results, when we look out here, martinlutherking.org, the first one is read the URL. So when we take a look at this, martinlutherking.org, we're going to see that it's an organization. So kind of first realm, doing our little search, we take a look at the R, which is read the URL, take a look at the R, and for the most part it looks like it's going to be good. It's going to be an organization. So probably could be an organization about Martin Luther King. So far it looks good. So we're going to go ahead and go to the site, and when we take a look at the site, we take a look at this, and the second part of REAL is going to be evaluate. So we're going to look at the information on here, and as we take a look, and it says attention students, try out MLK pop quiz. Let's see, as we take a look at the site, we see a couple things. First of all, it doesn't look really fantastic for being martinlutherking.org. You'd think it would look a little better, but it doesn't really look fantastic. So as we look around the site, it's not the best site in the world, but as we look around here, there's a couple things like right here. It says why the King holiday should be repealed, or Black invention myths, bring the dream to life in your town, download flyers to pass at your school. So there seems to be kind of some weird kind of things on here. Why would the King holiday be repealed? Truth about King. So there's kind of some funny things about this. So evaluating the information on there, that's going to be one thing to take a look at. The other part of that is who's the author. Now as we take a look on here, there's really not anything that suggests who the author is of this site. So there's a really cool tip I'm going to show you, and that is if you copy the URL address, we're going to go to easyWhois, and I'm going to do a search just to make sure I pulled the right one. So here it is, easyWhois.com. And then I'm going to paste in the URL, and I'm going to do it easyWhois lookup. And when I do that, let's do. It's not pulling up what I wanted to find. Let's try this again here. Oh, you know what? I'm not clicking on. Go to a different site here. Apparently this one's not allowing me to pull up very well. Maybe this one will do. Alright, so let's paste in the URL. So it pulls up the site for me. So we're going to check on the author. Like I said, they didn't really list who the author was, so we're going to do our little own research. So martinlutherking.org. So as I come down here, I'm going to read the domain. And registrant organization is owned by a company called Stormfront, a guy named Don Black. So maybe I want to do a search on who Stormfront is. So I'm going to do a search on Stormfront. And there it is, stormfront.org. And as I click on this, as we can see, it's a white nationalist organization community. So this is probably some kind of white pride site. So as we take a look at this and start putting things together, as we ask about the author, as we kind of see things don't look right here, as we go down here and check who the author is, who is Stormfront, we find out this site is actually maintained by a white nationalist group, which is why we're getting the information that we're getting. So once again, teaching your students to read the URL, .org, .com, .edu, and it's not bad to tell your students to, I wouldn't say you cannot go to .org or you cannot go to .com sites, but it's one of those things to teach your students that if they see that, there's a good chance they could be selling information or some kind of organization. So we evaluate that website. It doesn't necessarily look the best. We ask about the author, found a little more information about the author. And the last thing you want to do is check your links. Now the reason I say check the links, whenever you click on the links, you're going to find out if there's not a whole lot of website links on there. They not be looking at other resources to pull their information. Other things that could be interesting about those links is if you're clicking on those links and it doesn't pull anything up, then that website might not have been updated in a while, and that's what the L stands for, is checking your links. So using those resources there, so using our search tips and then using the get real acronym, so reading your URL, evaluating the website, asking about the author, and then checking your links is really going to help pull in some of that information. One of the things when I'm working with our teachers, one of the things I have them do is I actually have a little sheet that students fill out when they're doing research, and it just says REAL, read the URL, and students have to just write, oh, it's a .org. Evaluate the website, looks good, or the graphics are not very good, doesn't look very pretty. Who's the author? Oh, this page was written by this, or I can't find who the author is, and check the links. All links are good, or there are no links. And not that you have to have them fill out about every website they visit, but if they're doing research, maybe they have to fill it out on 5 of their pages that they use for websites. So searching is really important, but also allows your students to verify the information that they're checking. So I hope you try a couple of those search tips out. Definitely search out. One of my favorite sites, by the way, is Power Searching with Google. And if you do a search for Power Searching with Google, it's powersearchingwithgoogle.com. What I love about this is there is it's an online course you can take. There's an advanced. I haven't done the advanced yet, but I have done the basic Power Searching one, and this is a fantastic site. There's a couple of classes that you go through. There's some videos to watch. The videos are pretty short. They're about 2 minutes, but they'll share a tip, and then you have to finish a video on it. This guy right here, his name is Dan Russell. He's the one in charge of it, and he's the one that created a lot of the videos. So he's really kind of cool, very smart guy when it comes to searching. Actually had an opportunity to meet him a couple years ago. Very smart guy when it comes to searching. And his job position at Google is search user experience. So basically, he wants to provide a good user experience for all users when they're visiting Google and doing searching. So be sure to check out powersearchingwithgoogle.com so you can get out there and check out some great information on there. And one last one is this link that I clicked on here, which is Google Search Education. Google Search Education provides lesson plans and activities to use with your students. So this is a great tool also to use with your students. And they have some little, what they call Google a Day challenges. So there's tips throughout that you can do each day to get your students kind of practice searching and refining their searching skills.